Hey pals, welcome to day 14. If I had some confetti, I would throw it. We've made 2 weeks. Well, we will after this is done anyway. I'm Tanya. This is 100 miles in 100 days on a $100 treadmill. There's my fat cat Jim. And yeah, we walk for a mile. We talk about Disney and other cool stuff. And so if you've got 20 minutes to work out, come along with us. All right, you guys ready to get this going? Let's get the countdown going. Come on, everybody, here we go. And let's ramp it up. And welcome to day 14. I'm super excited that you guys are here. I feel so good on day 14. I feel like I've got an actual routine going, so hopefully that will keep me going. I don't feel like I have to, force myself up out of bed every morning now to do this. I have one of those brains that works with, as I'm doing something creative, I get more and more creative. I'm getting better at being a little more structured in my scheduling so that I can spend more time doing a little bit more research on how to film better, and also to do a little bit of research on some of the things I want to talk about. Like today, for example, it's there's just been something that's been rolling around in my head for a couple of days because I've been hearing a bit about it online and from other creators, and it's striking me as a little bit strange, and I'm not sure why. So what it is how Disney has entered into an agreement with OpenAI for, I think, a 3-year contract for licensed commercial use of their characters. And this is $1 billion for AI. And at first blush, I was just like, why would a company that should be investing that kind of money into their own actual creators and their own original artists, why are they investing in AI for their own characters? Something doesn't compute. And so when something doesn't compute for me, I spend a few days kind of rolling it around in my head, and some of the conclusions that I've come to. What if this is about their shareholders? What does that look like? And I'm going to tell you that I have put some of my savings into buying stock in Disney because I hear people talk about how Disney's doing X, Y, and Z for their shareholders. And I always hear those things, but I don't necessarily see anyone talking about their personal experience. Does it actually do something for shareholders? And, I own this much of Disney. and I can tell you that I'm not making money off of it. I am definitely not here to give you any sort of financial advice. That being said, because I've been following the Disney stock that I own for about a year, I've been paying attention to what they're doing with other companies. So in September of this year, Disney partnered with Webtoon, which is an online, one of the biggest, maybe the biggest online webcomic website online. They're going to be bringing over 100 different series, 100, of their comics that already exist to the platform. Those two things got me thinking, because then I went ahead, and because that partnership was happening, I went ahead and bought some stock in Webtoon. Again, I'm not giving you any kind of advice because I'm losing money on both of these things. But but I'm also I just want to give you personal anecdotal information about what I think is happening. So with those two things happening, and then not too far on the heels of that, Disney partnering with OpenAI to commercially license their characters, I'm kind of guessing that something's going on with that whole bundle of things that's happening there, because commercially licensing your characters doesn't necessarily mean we're going to put them out there in AI and everybody can use them, and all you have to do is pay, and you at home could use Disney characters to make an AI movie. I doubt that that's what this is about. As I was doing some research, I was learning how Disney will actually have to like port over all of these comics that exist in probably not web-based form, but they're going to have to like convert that over. And what does that look like? They're going to need to use some of this technology to port over their existing comics into web format. They've shown us in the past that they don't do things for necessarily for the good of anybody but Disney. And as much as I love Disneyland, I'm not blind to the fact that Disney is a corporation that has its own best interests at heart. For me, it makes sense that you give your digital creators the ability to use your licensed characters in new, maybe some enhanced ways, and still keep control, because that is where, when I was stirring all of this around in my brain, that's where it all comes down to for me, is Disney has always been interested in keeping control of their characters. With these two things going on, the partnership with Webtoon, the partnership with OpenAI, what do those things look like when we look at it through the eyes of doing this for the best interest of Disney? And their best interest always is to move into the future with the latest, trying to keep up with the latest technology, and how do they keep control of their characters in the environment that is the digital age right now, is to own the licensing for AI usage of them. And I really don't think we're going to get the opportunity to download Mickey Mouse and have an AI conversation with him. I don't know. I don't think it would be in Disney's best interest to give anyone but themselves and their own creators license to use those products. Okay, pals, guess what time it is? It's time to hydrate. Okay, so how about we go ahead and do something fun now and look a little bit more at the app again today. And we'll go into our Disney app. We're all very familiar with this by now, I am sure. It's our opening screen and our landing screen. What we're gonna do today is we're not gonna use that hamburger button. We're gonna try something different. We're gonna use down at the very bottom where you normally would use that hamburger button, just to the left of the plus symbol is a location symbol, and we're gonna click that. What this is gonna do is give you a map of the park. And so you can see here, I've centered Big Thunder Mountain, there's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, there's the castle and the hub, the Matterhorn, and then you see all of these. You see the little drop downs where it says like 40-minute wait. I'm gonna click on the 40-minute wait, and it tells me that that is, if it would stay up, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway has a 45-minute standby wait now. So this is another way to look at your standby times. What are those starred things? Well, that's Roger Rabbit's, and it's temporarily closed. It's also going to show us that Goofy's How to Play yard is there. And if you look at the very top, you'll see that what is starred right now is attractions. So that's what it's showing us. So we can look at dining. If I click on dining, it shows me where all the dining locations are. We can click on any of those and it'll tell us what that is. It'll give us the ability to mobile order from here if we want to. We can also look at entertainment. Here's a good one. Characters. I told you that we would talk about this at one point. So, a lot of people wonder, like, how do I make sure that I meet characters? This is one of the great ways to do it, because say we're over in Galaxy's Edge and I can see that there's a possibility of 3 characters being out right now. So we'll click on that one, and it says Ahsoka Tano is out to meet. I didn't even know she was available. That's a new character maybe. I've never seen Ahsoka there. And the Mandalorian. They're not necessarily out at this time, but that is the area. If you are going to find either one of those characters, that's the area they're going to be in. Then you can see up here by the Millennium Falcon, there's the possibility of meeting Chewbacca. And then over here, we have the First Order Stormtroopers and Kylo Ren. So again, that's where they come out in those areas. Let's see who's over in the corner here. Ah, Winnie the Pooh, over in Pooh Corner. So that'll give you a good idea of where these characters come out, the possibilities of where you're going to meet them. It doesn't necessarily give you a time, but it will give you the area that they're at. Goofy, Mickey, Minnie, and Pluto are down on Main Street. Judy Hopps and Nick Wilder in California Adventure. That's cool. But yeah, you'll get different characters over in California Adventure. And you'll get kind of familiar with where those characters come out. So another very important thing to know is, where are the restrooms? Always seems to be the thing you need to know, right? So this map is really great for telling you where all the restrooms are in the park. Even if you're out on Tom Sawyer's Island there's some restrooms for you to use. Over here in Tomorrowland, there's one right over here by Autopia. It's a little bit hidden, but that's one of the that's one of the nice secret locations to use a restroom, because there's usually never very many people in there, because it's kind of hidden underneath and behind a little bit of a roof line there. So secret bathrooms. They're just before you get to the Autopia entrance. So that's a little bit of how you use the map application. As you can see, I don't even have to be in the park to see what's going on in the park. And it's a really great way of getting yourself very familiarized with what the layouts are of the lands, where all those food locations are, where all those restrooms are, how far apart the rides are and what the wait times look like, or attractions rather. And you can still find cast members at specific places in the park where you can still actually get a paper map of some of the attractions. I'll show you one of my maps from last Christmas. Gives you kind of the layout of the land. So if you still need that kind of analog thing in your hand, you can still do that. So there's like I said, there's people, cast members placed at a couple of different places in the park to do that. You can also go to guest services at the very beginning. Ask any cast member, they'll be able to send you to where you can find those places. But in the meantime, because we're already learning how to use our app, we're gonna just go ahead and use that to get ourselves familiarized with both of those parks. And there's some great little Easter eggs that, let's see if I can show you here. And I'm gonna pull up that map again. There's some cool Easter eggs in here. Like if you go over to California Adventure and you find Guardians of the Galaxy, and you scroll in as close as you possibly can, and I can't get quite close enough, but you can see Baby Groot on the second balcony down. I'm going to put him straight in the center here. It's the second balcony down on the very far left corner. And even harder to see, I've got him centered now, is Rocket hiding behind the blue pipe that goes down. And he is in the third balcony down, and he's hiding between the wall and the pipe. So if you take a screenshot and blow this up even more, there's Groot, and there's Rocket. How much fun is that? I don't know who found that to begin with, but that's always a fun thing to show people. Let's go ahead and get sped up. And since we saw that Ahsoka Tano is possibly over in Galaxy's Edge, and I've never seen her before, let's head over there, see what that's about. Let's see, let's say we're at Big Thunder Mountain. We're gonna go the back way, up around the back of Big Thunder Mountain and into Galaxy's Edge. A little bit of an uphill walk, but nothing we can't handle. We've been working on this for a while now, and a little bit of speed and a little bit of a hill isn't gonna stop us from meeting those characters. All right, we're going through the tunnel. This tunnel's really cool because if you take a close look when you're walking through the tunnel, it changes from Frontierland to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, somewhere in the middle of it. And the soundscape changes, the visuals change, the concrete on the ground changes. There's things imprinted into the concrete. So in Frontierland, there's things like, looks like a horse has been walking. So you see his horseshoes and wagon tracks. And then once you get into Galaxy's Edge, you see things like droid tracks and animal tracks that are part of the Star Wars universe. So if you haven't looked at that before, take a look at your feet the next time you go through those places. You know what's funny is that I record this for you guys every single time that I do this instead of just using footage from the day before, even though it probably looks pretty much the same. There it is, 1 mile, woohoo! All right, that's day 14 in the books. Good job, pals. Can't wait to see you back again here tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye, pals. Crookshanks is always looking for the warmest place in the room, so I think the treadmill must be warm after I walk on it for a while. And whoa, there's my big face.